What's your biggest flex that you'll never tell anyone? I haven't used heroin since September 24th, 2020, and I managed to get out of bed today. Was out on a date with a hot girl after dinner. Her car rolled no at start. Pop the hood. I saw an engine. I am pretty sure. Not a clue whatever else I was looking at. She looked at me and I punched the battery with the side of my hand and told her to try again. Car fucking started. I felt like Fonzie. Got so laid. Once I was in the passenger seat of my car while my wife was driving down the freeway. A truck driver and me locked eyes and started communicating using hand signals, waving and such. He was drinking her up and gestured in a way that was asking me if I wanted one. I obviously said yes, and we both rolled our windows down. He threw it to me, and I actually caught it. We both laughed, and I have never enjoyed a drink more in my life. It was a had to be there moment that I remember fondly, but no point telling anyone really. Lol. Deaf person here who wears hearing aids and relies heavily on lip reading. I get excited on the extremely rare occasions I can figure out a spoken phrase without any lip reading. It almost never happens, or when I recognize a song I know. But there's no point in bragging, because other people will just think I am not retarded deaf and make less of an effort to face me/speak clearly. Lol. We had a crappy scatter park here in town. The town was posting pictures saying they would update it to this awesome skate plaza. Years go by, still the same crappy wooden ramp. One day I wrote a letter to Rob Dyrdek asking him to come to my town and build a scatter park I drew up and sent with the letter. Very calculated for a 12-year-old. Lol. Couple months, maybe a year goes by. I am in the car on the way to Pennsylvania when I notice Rob is in my town at the park talking to the mayor. In a year and a half we got the first street league replica skate plaza. IDK how many PPL wrote letters to Rob asking for a scatter park in my little town, but I like to think that was totally me who made that happen. Still trying to know for sure, and I still have the letter. Lol. The Swift local who wears glasses and a beanie every day. I was quoted on some literary website one time for something I said off the cuff in an argument. I also got to play a few shows with some of my favorite bands of all time, but I'm so far removed from that music scene now that no one I know would ever care about it except for me. When I was 15 I won a scholarship to study ballet in Russia. It was amazing. I got accepted into Mensa and then immediately realized I don't want to hang out with the type of people who join Mensa, so I never went through with it. I'm too embarrassed to tell anyone I took the test. I finished a tube of chapstick without losing it once. I bought some then relatively worthless Apple stock because I thought I'd be able to eBay the stock certificate with the rainbow Apple logo when the company went out of business. My investment guy just thinks I'm really clever. I've not corrected him. Some of my memes I created on Tumblr still float around to this day. One was featured on BuzzFeed a few years ago. Not something exciting on a resume, but I still like to think about it. I was in the grocery store and saw an older woman standing in the aisle comparing what was in her cart to what was in her wallet, obviously counting to see if she could afford everything. Based on her body language as she walked away I could tell that the answer was no. So I took a 20 out and walked up to her and said, "Ma'am, when you were over there just a second ago this fell out of your wallet." I handed her the bill and just walked away so she wouldn't be embarrassed if she figured out I was lying. I did hear her say thank you, so I half turned and told her you're welcome, have a nice night. It was only $20, but I think it made a difference to her, and that felt amazing. I raised $100,000 for a scholarship fund in the memory of my deceased twin brother. Since that time when I've given away over 200 scholarships. In my public speaking class I had to give a speech on procrastination. I wrote the speech an hour before class. In my feedback notes I was told I had great preparation. I keep light up sketches under my bed to walk around the house at night. Had a class where the professor was pissed that everyone did really bad on an essay and was yelling at the class. He said that aside from one person who got a 97%, he was disappointed with everyone there. I had a 97%. I have been clean 6 months off heroin for the first time in 5 years. Edit. I am speechless. Thank you to everyone that gave awards and all of your sweet words. I am proud of everyone that is also clean. I am newish to Reddit and this was a warm welcome. Zuxo. I discovered, verified, and reported a critical security flaw in a US Army computer system, which was then quickly patched. Seems especially relevant these days, though it was over a year ago. For future reference, on the off chance that you ever find something similar, Duty actually has a HackerOne page. Me and my girlfriend created in the past a YouTube channel for kids, playing with toys using only our hands and voices. We had videos hitting 300k plus views, but we uploaded few videos, like 10 videos, because our priorities changed and we stopped. But we were still able to make several $100s from them, and the videos still generate some money today after many years. I think if we had continued with that, maybe we would be able to make a lot of money. I regret we didn't keep uploading more videos. Do you know that random, intuitive ideas you have sometimes? Pay attention to them. Your DPU is smarter than yourself sometimes. I never get bored. Ever. It is a useful superpower when I am stuck in certain situations. I'm one of those people that with minor changes to hair/facial hair I look like a completely different person. It'll be useful if I ever need to go on the lam. Eater. I developed the habit of carrying 4 different types of photo IDs all with different hair and facial hairstyles because of this. I saw Elton John in Vegas. Red Piano Tour. During Benny and the Jets, I can whistle extremely loudly. I nailed the whistle part that is on live version of the song that plays on the radio. He smiled. I intentionally don't step on ants just because they are cool. At one point I could sing along perfectly to We Didn't Start the Fire. I still know most of the words, but I'm always so embarrassed to sing in front of other people lol. I dropped a fry from my mouth and slapped it to try and save it. It landed back in the box. I have an gag reflex. This will go to my grave. Married man with 3 kids. I saw a lizard in the middle of a busy road. I bent down on the side of the road and called for it as I put my hands out, and he ran straight into my arms. I carried him to safety and didn't think anything of it until I heard a stranger behind me go, "Did y'all see that shit? She's a lizard whisperer." Man, I wish there was another witness because I bet I looked cool. I have enough old, valuable Magic the Gathering cards to buy a car. A new, really nice car. I don't tell anyone I roll because they're from when I was young and collected them, and my current social circle would think it's kid/nerd stuff and wouldn't understand. Doesn't get me down, though. Current plan is to hold on to them until they go up enough over time to match my mortgage balance, then use them to pay off my house. Edit. I appreciate all the comments. I currently actively keep up with the MTG market, and I'm a pretty close follower of the /mtgfinance sub. As far as the makup of the cards, RL cards, mostly from 93/94, and complete sets from Urza's block and earlier. I lived with my grandparents my whole life who lived in a small little house across the street from a big fancy neighborhood development. They lived in the same house for 40 years before the development. It was a very bad hill on a busy road with the neighborhood in trance at the bottom of the hill, which was across the street from our house. Me and my grandpa would pull people out of wrecks all the time. Saved a bunch of lives, but sadly saw over 10 people die on that hill growing up. The big fancy people in that neighborhood would always bring us food and gifts. They called my grandpa the gatekeeper. No one will see this because I am way late, but when I was in elementary school, me and a friend were playing video games together and he started choking on a piece of food stuck in his throat. It was not getting dislodged, so I did the Heimlich maneuver and it came out. I don't remember anyone else finding out what happened. I ran over a half marathon at night for 5 months every day. I should not be proud, because that was my lowest point mentally, but I was. Eater, Jesus, I went to sleep and woke up to 80 notifs. Thanks. I wanted to add that it was because of an obsession with exercise, for those who were confused as to why I don't want to be proud of it. It was not healthy and fucked up my body for a little while. My biggest flex I keep quiet is that I made right about $15,000 playing a video game or a semi-professional. Now is the time where people think stuff like that is cool, but 2 years ago, when it was happening, I got made fun of by my girlfriend the one time I mentioned it. Edit so everyone knows. This is an XGF as to her making money playing video games was lame, but sex with other guys was still cool to her. I ended that forks relationship. Woman in my office had a fairly long piece of TP attached to her shoe and I stepped on it and attached it from her shoe. I felt like a superhero. I still feel like a superhero about it. I should have put a serious tag on this. I am on level 4000 in Candy Crush. Edit, I have spent $0 on the game.